Well, my impressions of the script when I read it was fascinating, to be honest. I loved all the characters, and especially my Nimue, the Blood Queen, because the movie starts off with her, and I thought she was really right on with what she stood for and what she was talking about. And then they pretty much chop her head off and kill her. And immediately I was sucked in because I said, why wouldn't they agree with her? Why wouldn't they negotiate? I mean, it just felt like a situation that anybody would see and just be like, but I feel like she has a point. So of course I was fascinated from the beginning because I wanted to know more. I wanted to know what her story was going to end up being. Nimue, the Blood Queen, is a very complicated woman, which I love, because all complicated women are fine by me. And, she's a woman who's trying to bring two worlds together, the creatures of darkness and the world of man, and really feeling like they could live in peace and trying to make that happen. And of course, King Arthur and Merlin the magician, they just don't buy it, they don't believe it, and so they kill her, or they try to kill her, but they can't, of course. She gets betrayed and goes rogue in a way. Then she becomes like a terrorist in a sense. She's a good person that got twisted and now is just going to prove her point in whatever way she can. And unfortunately, there's a lot of anger living inside of her, but it's been caused by others as well. So, she's got many sides to her, and that's what really attracted me. Well, the Gruagach is what they call a changeling. And he tried to steal a baby and leave himself in the baby's place. But Hellboy caught him and forced him to give the baby back. So now he's in this form of this kind of deformed pig, and all of his visions of growing up as a human and living a life of joy and happiness was crushed by Hellboy. So now he's out for revenge, and he wants to get Hellboy because Hellboy crushed his dreams. She meets Hellboy in a vision, and she sees his potential, that he's this monster. He's one of her creatures. He's she says to him, "You're one of us." And, but he keeps trying to deny that part of him. He shaved his horns off. He's trying to live like a human, trying to be accepted. And her whole thing is, why are you keep trying to be accepted by people who hate and fear you? You're reviled among humans. You could be lauded as a hero in my world. And, don't hide from your true nature. And of course, he fights that, and he just wants to be accepted, and he wants to be normal. And, it's hard for her because she sees in him an equal to her. She sees someone that could potentially be her king, that could rule alongside of her and add to her strength and add to the strength of her kingdom and make it their kingdom. And he just keeps fighting her and fighting her. And so, yeah, in the end, she's like, well, if you don't agree with me, I'm just going to have to force you. Like a lot of women probably do. Hellboy, in the end, chops my head off. That's his final action. He does the same thing that all those men did, chops my head off again, and he throws it into a crack into the deepest regions of hell. But I go down laughing, so nice. There you go. You can't stop me that easily. Well, seeing David in his costume was amazing. I mean, it is just, I mean, he's a tall guy. He's a big guy, but, you know, with the suit and the mask and the horns, I mean, it was amazing. I was shocked when I first saw him. It was really cool, and he really embodies Hellboy with all of that aplomb, and he's got that sense of humor and that big personality, and it just fit, you know. I saw it and I was like, yes, this is perfect. Well, Nimue in the opening scene is in her full regalia. She's got her crown of thorns and she's got a red blood cloak. And, you know, she's very pale and ghostly. You know, she is the queen of darkness, the queen of blood, the queen of the night. And then once she gets chopped into pieces, and 1,500 years later, the boxes get opened, she's like this kind of undead monstrosity that's all decayed, and she just looks like something nasty you'd find like in some dumpster somewhere. We worked very hard to achieve that look, by the way. That was not easy. So the beauty look doesn't take much time, but I have this really long wig that was created for me using multiple wigs that goes down to my knees. And so that's kind of a nightmare every day to put that on and actually keep it on my head because it's really heavy. So that was mostly, and you know, to do the kind of decomposed look was very difficult. It took about 3 hours in the makeup chair because every vein has to be drawn and spray painted by the girls, and you know that, you know, once you start doing my chest and my arms and my legs, and then we did this beautiful shimmer on top, this silver shimmer on top that just made it look otherworldly and very ghostly. That was very beautiful. So the look was set by an amazing makeup artist named Paul Pattison, and you know, pretty much we knew that we had to have this long wig, and when we talked about the wig, actually, because we had this costume set that was almost like this bone bikini that was actually really gorgeous and really cool, but the only way that would have been possible was to have my hair up. But now suddenly with this idea of the super long hair, it felt like she needs just the hair is pretty much the costume. So that, I think, was the driving force that set Nimue's look. David is such a wonderful guy. He's a sweetheart, and you know, he's a very smart guy as well. So he's bringing so much not only to the character but to the script. He loves to ad lib. He's a writer himself. So you know, he's just bringing so many different dimensions to so many different parts of the script. You know, he's very creative and a really fun personality to be around at the same time. So, you know, he's a big presence. You know immediately when David's on set, and you know, he's a lot of fun to be around, and to have that kind of juxtaposition of being fun and hilarious, but yet very smart and very complex in his thinking. And he brings this gravitas to everything he does, and this ease. You know, he's just a cool guy with a great kind of attitude. You know, he's always been a bad boy in a way, and you know, he brings this kind of casual power to every line, where you just have to listen to him. And you know, I think to be Hellboy's dad, he's perfect because he's like smart, but he doesn't give a shit as well. You know, and he's ready to tell you that. So he doesn't mince his words. So I think, you know, to have those two personalities with him and David together on set is really wonderful because, you know, though they work in a different way, the two personalities really play off each other so beautifully. Well, Neil Marshall directed this movie, and Neil is wonderful because he really likes to go into these different worlds, and you know, he has this grand vision of what he wants in the movie, and you know, he really brings that every day that he comes to set. You know, he has a reason for every bit of direction that he gives, and he's got this really quiet nature, but when he does speak, you want to listen to him. You want to make sure that his vision gets told or shown, because he is such a wonderful personality and such a sweet guy, and he's a gentle creature, but at the same time very smart and very visual, very visual. You know, some of the sets have no walls. It's all blue screens, but he sees it all in his head. So I can't wait to see the final product, because the few pieces of sets that I've seen are amazing. And to think of what's going to be added once everything is done, once his vision is complete, is just so exciting. And then, of course, my favorite set was Pendle Hill, which is the opening of the film where my character Nimue gets betrayed by King Arthur, and actually how the movie pretty much ends as well. You know, because there's this big tree on this hill and all of these rocks around, and you know, we get on set and we climb up this hill, and it's in a stage. And I said, did they just build the stage around a hill? Because how did they make this hill? I mean, these are real stones. No, they built this hill and they chiseled out of cement blocks these rocks to look so real. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell that this was a set. No one knew that it was a set. That's how well it was done. So I was just so impressed by the work that's been done on this movie when it comes to sets, because it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-boggling. You do have characters that hurt and characters that feel, and that feel insecure and that need to prove something, and you know, that feel marginalized, you know, like Hellboy, who doesn't fit in, and my character, the Blood Queen, who's has the best intentions, but everything goes wrong. You know, I think everyone can relate to these emotions. So, you know, not only is it going to be a kick-ass action movie, but I think it's going to be characters that everyone can relate to.